Aero Observer 2000 here, back again doing another video here. And guys, we are at the old St. Louis Union Terminal Station, passenger station. And of course, it's been closed for train traffic since 1978. And it has since been restored and is now being used as a hotel. As you can see, they have done a very great job at restoring it. Because this would have been the main concourse here. You would have boarded the trains through those stairs because the train shed is right out there, and we're going to be heading out there in a minute or two. You can see a dome up there. So yeah, did a real good job restoring this place. But again, they've made it into a hotel since it's closed for train use. So yeah. And here is the train shed. So here's where the train shed would have been. So this would have been the train shed. From here back, nothing but the train shed. There would have been, if I had to guess, there would have been railroad tracks. Probably backing straight up into the wall of the station, really. Probably would have gone to the platforms here. Yeah, I heard they were going to make this area an aquarium. Not that I would really care too much about that, because there are tracks here in the back. We could ask. Well, you never know.
This is a private event, so we can't go we can walk through the middle.
Well, no, I'm saying we could walk around the side. I don't know if they allow people outside, but there were passenger cars stored out back. They have a model locomotive down there. I mean, you never know. I mean, for God's sakes. I don't think they would mind if someone photographing the railroad equipment out there. I'm not. They have a park, so I think that's technically public, isn't it? What? Good Lord. Sorry if they don't cater to the commoners. But yeah. So yeah, this would have been an entire train shed. So keep in mind, if when this place first opened, just how many tracks would have been in here. Okay. Keep that in mind. Imagine none of this is here. The engines. Oh Lord, they have two models right here. Okay. Okay, I see this. Oh, these were live steam models. So this is like what they have at the station in Chattanooga. Chicago and Northwestern, and it's an Atlantic type, 442. Whoever built this did a great job on it, detail-wise. I'm loving it. They got another Atlantic type here. I'll give them points. I love this. Yeah. Here's where the back side of the station would be here. The thing is, though, is they should have kept at least a few tracks in place so you could get an idea as to where the platforms, where the tracks ended and the area where you would have walked began. Because I know they would have probably had a long platform going down the length of the station this way. Well, there's bound to be photos. If this place was in use until 1978, there's bound to be photos and even old film of it. We know there's old film of it from 1977. There's an archival piece of film from when Amtrak was still using the station before they pulled out. Literally. You can see the roof of the train shed. No, but I can hardly see them from where I'm standing. Come on. Please. Yeah, you got the Wabash, Mobile and Ohio, Cotton Belt, Missouri Pacific, Illinois Central, Pennsylvania Railroad, New York Central, Frisco, Southern Railway, Rock Island, and the Nickel Plate Road. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me recount that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different Class 1 railroads, all under one roof.
Okay, so this is the back side.
Yes, and there would have been 11 different Class 1 railroads all coming in here. And it's amazing, Amtrak cut that down to the point where they pretty much, and Amtrak pretty much destroyed the use of this. They made there be so few trains that really, it made the station redundant. Completely redundant, and that's what's unfortunate. Where are you going? Well, I'm here for the trains. I'm not here to bother anybody because I have some old signal gantries. I don't know. I'd imagine it's one of the two, but you can see the steel. The steel framing, that's probably original. Okay, well, the door's open. They can't say no if it's open. I mean, and again. So yeah, this would have been the train shed. And you can see that's the original steel here. All this steel here, it's original. I should have taken a magnet up. Okay, now look up. That's probably the original steel.
Yes.
Yeah, this is all original steel for the train shed roof. So they're taking all that down. I don't know why.
You see it all the way out here.
So the tracks really would have been further down. I don't know, unless they dug out a bit underneath. But yeah, I mean, if we could walk down, I saw where they had.
Well, the doors are here, so we can walk in.
All right. Going to pause again. This shows you just how long the station is. This is from the backmost edge here, all the way looking down. In fact, here's the historical marker. So it was designated in 1970 and it closed 8 years later. Well, 9 years later because it's 1970. It's a shame they could have kept all the tracks.
Exit to the west one.
Go and pause the video again. Alright, so we're walking alongside where the station's train shed is. Of course, this is all new development that was built later on after the station closed to passenger service. So really, this was never here when they were running trains through here. So it looks like we're coming to the end of the road again. I want to see if we can get permission to go into the back of the property because there's passenger cars that have been stored. There's a few tracks left and even 2 signal bridges, if I remember correctly, and I don't remember where that is at specifically. Okay, yeah, here we go. So there's the old boarding platforms, a few that are still left. And there's the rest of the train shed right there. I'm sorry if this isn't exactly a good tour, but let's face it, they've made this thing pretty much for people who have a lot more money for traveling than me and my grandmother. So we're not exactly allowed into anywhere else concerning the property. So they are renovating a lot of this, which is nice. But you can see just how big and how long this train shed is, because this is the main roof here. This is whole thing from there all the way down to there. That is the entire train shed. That's the whole train shed. There was probably at least, I don't know how many tracks, but they have this blocked off because of renovation, which is fine. I'm glad they're renovating it, but you can see there's some of the boarding platforms there. through all through here, all boarding platforms. And right there, look, see? Look at all that.
Yeah.
That's all passenger cars that are being stored. And I think, yeah, you can see those are all old. I think this is all ex-Southern passenger equipment here. Through here. Elevate. There's a dome car back there. I'm seeing a dang dome car. So I think that's probably being stored by, I don't know if a railroad museum is storing that, because I know it said a few cars that are owned by private owners. Hang on, look at the design there. That's similar to what the brick archwork in Atlanta's old Union Station.
Yes.
I'm talking about the pillar joints. But you can see they've just built inside the train shed. That's how big it was.
It looks like yonder, if you go up the block and come back down, we know be able to get to Langley.
Lord have mercy. But I like that, though. That kind of makes you think this place is still operating, but it's not. It's been shut down for passenger service for almost 40 years. But I'm thinking here, because you can see, look at that. There's a dome car right there. Oh my, look at that. I think this is owned by a railroad museum, because that's the only other reason they would be here. I think. I don't know for sure. I know they have this fenced off, but I just want to look in. Yeah, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of passenger cars here. So I think this might be for when NCN St. L 576 is brought back. Because I know when I saw the news reports of it being restored, they had acquired passenger cars for it to be using when it runs. I think. But you can see just how big this train set is. I'm hoping they're not going to tear it down. I don't think they can, since it's protected. But I hope not. There's got to be another way up.
We'll go up the block and come back down. There should be another street over.
Well, hang on. There might be another sidewalk over here. I just want to look. So here's a better look at the passenger equipment. Yeah. Wait, does that say Silver Meteor?
Yeah, silver.
Well, I know about probably not. Probably something around that. I'm glad they've left the cars. Are you coming? I'm glad they left the passenger equipment be. So those cars must be equipment cars or generator cars for excursions. Either that or they're being stored. It's one of the two. I know most people would probably be asking us to leave. I'm just wanting to try and get this filmed, because you never know. This could be all like gone, but you can see. Yeah, I can see the tracks would have come all the way back to here too. You can see there's a platform right here. Oh, and look at that right there. Right there, look. Old rail. Either that or it's new rail, one of the two. Yeah, old padding's still there. So the tracks would have ran. So you can see. Well, yeah, you can see the tracks would have run in between the platforms where the ballast is. I like it that they're storing rail there, and I think, yeah, look, there's the other boarding platform structure right there. They've taken that apart. I don't know if they just removed most of that for like equipment storage or what. I'm hoping they're not going to get ready to cut that up. I hope that's not the case. There's a Seaboard car back here. Look at this. Yeah, so they took it apart. I don't know if they're getting ready to scrap this or what, but I hope that's not the case. You can see where they have been storing a lot of cars. And oh my God, actually look. I'm seeing an Amtrak car. There's a lot of stuff here. In fact, yeah, look. That's probably what I saw. That's the old signal gantries right there.
Yeah.
That's probably been there since the 70s. Yeah, look, seaboard. There's no fence.
But you don't need to go back there. It's all fenced off.
I'm not, but
Right here, you're close enough.
there's probably stuff from I can't remember the name of the railroad. I know it was a railroad that ran in Texas. That's some of their passenger stock. Look at that. So this is the equipment they have stored, and there's the signal gantries right there. The old signal bridge right here, look. So there's two of the old signal bridges still intact. I think there's old, I don't know, but yeah. Then there's, I think, two others there. And there's the switcher I saw. So that must be what they're using to shuttle these cars back and forth. And then there's a set under the bridge there. Washington Terminal Railway. So, yeah, Hollywood Beach. So that probably would have been stored down in Florida by the owner and then brought up here. Don't know when at the excursion they're going to use it on. Because I know some of these are private cars, meaning, I know before Amtrak made the decision to stop allowing them to be used on the back of their trains, I know they would usually allow the people who own these cars to have them on their trains, but once they enacted that law, that was gone. And there's another signal bridge right there. Yeah, I see it. Technically, the road is public, if I'm right, so we could walk around here. I want to see. I don't remember the name of the railroad that owned that passenger car there, so that's another reason why I want to look. There's a better view of the signal gantry there, or not gantry, but signal bridge rather. Here, come on. Oh, look here. Well, I'll be God. The whole signal bridge structure is still intact. Okay, so in terms of surviving trackage into the station, probably tracks, I don't know what these would have been numbered as, but 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think, are the only remaining tracks left. But it's funny, you'd think this was still in use, but it's not. In fact, there's where the rest of the tracks would have come in, so I know what some of the railroads usually did after these massive stations were closed is they cut all access to them by rail, and they built so that you can see the yard has been built away from the station. But
Let's go wander down to one of these. Anything that's a hole in the wall like that, we need to go by.
But I mean, let's just say this is like what it would have been in Atlanta, but much bigger.
That. St. Louis Union Station.
I'm glad they kept the signal bridges, because you don't even see those anymore. I want to look over there at that signal bridge real quick.
I'm in the shade. I'm fine.
This is just like in Chattanooga, but there's a lot more rolling stock. Don't know why this passenger car is not in the rest of the complex, and there's an Amtrak car out there too. So, yeah, and there's another signal bridge that's been left out here. So imagine 40 to almost 50 years ago, at least in 1970, imagine back in 1970, there was still a lot of trackage here. And of course now it's all been ripped up and removed mostly. But that's where trains would have come in. Heck, if I'm right, I think the only reason this trackage is here is because these were the only ones that were still served by Amtrak, or the only ones that Amtrak had a use for. So they just came in and removed all the other trackage that wasn't needed, or that was no longer needed. But you can see this whole street This whole area here, would have been nothing but railroad tracks at one point. It's a shame it's not the case anymore. But there is a bit of film on YouTube that was shot in 1977 showing Amtrak using the station for what little use it had for it.
Amazing, Donna. This is absolutely amazing.
It's a better look at the switch engine there. I love that they even still have the old lights. I don't even think Chattanooga's Union Station even still has these. Hey, Macon doesn't even, the one in Macon doesn't even have the platforms anymore. And that car was the one used on the Frisco, so there's technically a lot of foreign flag equipment here. I don't know what type of diesel that would have been in terms of the type of classification, but I know it's a switcher. I know it's a switcher. But you gotta admit, it's kind of like Chattanooga in terms of the fact there's cars everywhere. Let's see. That might be Baltimore and Ohio, judging by the paint scheme. I could be wrong. I know Baltimore and Ohio did have a passenger service for a while, but yeah, again, here's the sheer size of this. Yeah, so all of the signals would have been mounted at there, I think. So the signal lights, you see where these areas drop down? That's where they would have been mounted, and I know the upper ones would have been mounted up there. But look at this. It's amazing. Well, I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I mean, oh, were those rabbits just then? Those weren't lizards. Southern Hospitality, what more could you ask for? So that might be either Baltimore in Ohio or Chesapeake in Ohio, one of the two. But yeah, here's just how wide this train shed is. From there all the way to here and even further back, would have been nothing but railroad tracks. In fact, I bet you, this here is the original track level right here. So I'm sure before, in 1970, Silver Express, how appropriate. That wasn't the same one. And who knows, they might have left the tracks in and buried them, or they may have pulled up the one, or they might have pulled the tracks up that weren't needed after most of the passenger trains were cut. So I'm curious as to what railroad would have owned these. I don't know what railroad would have owned them. I don't know if it was the Burlington route, Seaboard, or Southern. I don't know which. Oh, and they have an old crossing gate here. This is the first observation dome where I've seen the back observation part be open. So this is literally the end of the line here, but if you can imagine, these tracks would have continued straight back into the station.